Ahoy, crypto pirates! Welcome to your non-Dlive VP Discourse Syndicate. I'm Captain RG3, all alone once again until DC gets done playing around with his little school thing that he's doing. But all is well. All is well. We look like we have some technology working today. Not too bummed about the technology. Funny thing is, I haven't done anything to it. Haven't touched it. Haven't changed anything, but seems to be working okay. Other than the fact that I can't see Dlive because Dlive's not refreshing right. Wait a second. There we go. We're back up. We're back up. Dlive is back up. Low res RG3. Great, 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 great. Okay. So is that what the thing is? I see. Looking for 8-bit RG3. Really, guys? So it's looking like shit, huh? Great. All right. Well, looks good here in the StreamYard, but okay, all good now. All right. So it cleared itself up. Oh man, this tech stuff is just too much, right? I guess that's my boomer in me, right? Anyway, seems to be working. We're running OBS. We're in the pirate ship. We're behind our little pirate ship desk. We've got everything going. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Thank you, Tree of Hex, Brands, and Joe Hexotic for the lemons. Papa Boner, thank you also for the lemons. Who else is in here dropping the love on the Discourse Syndicate? Brand, thanks for the diamond, bud. Great to see you, RG. It's good to see you too, man. Good to see you too. Glad to see you streaming like a motherfucker, man. You're doing good, Brand. I'm proud of you. You get out there, you're not afraid, and you keep dropping info on people. And look, the more of us out there doing it, the better. The more doing it, the better. There is no one streamer that needs to be running the roost, running the show, whatever you want to call it, because everybody's going to appeal to somebody else, you know, and it might not be your stream or this stream or any other stream that gets saw, but enough of them out there, someone's going to catch it, and maybe we can save them from a crypto fate worse than wrecked. And that is what's going on out there. How about our crypto Twitter blowing up on what's going on with Ripple, XRP, SEC, dropping the hand Okay, I'm back. I think I'm back. Let's see if we're completely back. Open up the Dlives, see where we're at. All right. Okay, I'm back. Well, now I've got echo. All right, let's see. Let me unfuck the audio here. Boom, 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 and let's. Okay, that ain't. All right, let's see. Let me unfuck the audio here. I know what that is. There we go. Back, fucking things. All right, so now we're back to flashing, and forget OBS. Fuck OBS. We're not going to do OBS. Oh, look, we're trending on the tops of the Dlives. Thank you, Dlive. It'd be nice if you give us our VP. We're ready for it. Everybody make stickers and stuff. All right. So where was I? What was I talking about? We were talking about XRP and what was going on the crypto Twitters. Yeah, OBS. That's right. B freaking S, man. So freaking tired of trying to make that thing work. But we'll dial it in. We'll dial it in because the new PC is on its way. Well, the parts anyway. My son, he's going to be building it for me, so it should work. Oh shit. Oh, all right. So tonight it's going to be a guest. Like I said, Discourse Syndicate is going to start changing up just a little bit. We're going to be limiting our Monday and Wednesday streams, which to most of you in the chat seems like it's going to be a good thing because you guys are just sitting there talking to each other anyway. So we're going to shorten the streams up to just a maximum of 2 hours. At 2 hours, I'm just going to do a hard stop and cut the thing off. And then Friday nights, have at it, guys. Have at it, long as you want, whatever. Because I got to get a life here. I got work to do, and it has nothing to do with Hex. I just need to make sure that I'm putting my priorities in order, and I'm limiting my time spent out there and balancing my life out because that's what we need to do. 4 F-bombs in 4 minutes. Why is your daughters watching our show? Why, dude? It's you. Liberty, you're a bad father. Put your daughters to bed and tell them not to be watching the show. It is not for children. They should not be watching it. And I'm going to report you for letting them watch this show. So fix yourself. Sorry, girls. Your dad's a bad man. Let's see. Spanky just donated a diamond. Thank you, because he is handsome for some reason. Uh-oh. And dude. Okay. Brand, thanks again for another diamond. Spanky, thanks for lemons, bro. I don't know why anything would autocorrect you. It should be no autocorrection on anything in the chat. I don't have any words banned. I let the ban hammer guys get rid of people that we don't like or whatever. So there shouldn't be anything that is banned on here. Let's see. All right. Okay. So tonight we have one of our OG Hexicans who has been on the stream before. But like I said, I want to limit the streams on Mondays and Wednesdays to guests. People come on. We're going to get in depth, talk to them, find out who they are as a Hexican, answer some questions, talk to the chat. And then after 2 hours, we're going to kind of shut it down and then let Friday nights be the free for all. That way we can I'm reading the chat too. Sorry. So that way we can give RG3 some kind of a life back. All right. Okay. Because that's what, if we do 3 hours a night, that's what, 9 hours plus at least Friday night hangout goes 4, sometimes 6 hours. So that's a lot of time, a lot of time. And then trying to unfuck technology and all this other shit. a lot of time, a lot of work. And not that I don't enjoy it or haven't enjoyed all of it, and don't mind doing it, and love giving the Hexicans a platform because I freaking love you guys. But we gotta balance the life out a little bit. So anyway, without any more bullshit, I'm gonna bring up our OG Hexican, John Wick. What's up, dude?
What's up? How's my audio?
It's a little bit loud, but
okay.
not bad.
Too loud? Okay. Do you think I should switch to headphones or?
No, you're all right. It's not feeding back or anything. You're all right.
Okay, cool.
I'm used to the high end.
Actually, let me do one thing. I think it's echoing a little bit.
It's okay. We'll just stop the show one more time here for everybody. We'll wait.
All right.
Come to the streets and halt.
I think it was because I'm in the conference room, so sorry about that.
Oh, conference room. You have a conference room at your house, or you're at work?
I'm at the office. Just hanging out. So happy holidays. A lot's happened since I came on, I think, in middle of October.
Yeah,
so this was pre BPD, and we were all excited. The price was like hitting all-time highs. It was pretty exuberant time, and I've had a lot of time to process, what's happened, and I kind of wanted to just throw some stuff out there. And you can stop me anytime you feel like something strikes you want to talk about. Or
let's do that, because I was interested in hearing what some of the things you had to say. Toby One XOB says, "Merry Christmas, guys." Merry Christmas, John Wick. He just dropped us a diamond. So Merry Christmas to everybody, and happy solstice if you're celebrating the solstice. All right. So what is going on with yourself first, John? What have you been up to?
Not too much, man. Just finishing up some of the work stuff for the year, year-end stuff. Markets have done really well, so can't complain there. It was a pretty bleak, a few months in about March and April in the markets. So I'm pretty happy with where we're at, and the money printing is nice and the stimulus is nice. So I'm happy that people are going to get money, and there's going to be more circulation of, some of this inflation that's just kind of thrown upon us that we can't really do anything about.
So, yeah. No, it's
but yeah,
it's really hitting home with me as far as my work goes, because I just lost my boss today because of COVID. We've had people that are exposed to people who tested positive, so they're on quarantine because they're exposed, not because they have COVID. But I lost all my crew, so I'm working doing the jobs on my own right now for all my crew. So it's hit us hard out here. It's like every day we've got more and more people that are getting quarantine because of it. So it's just a mess right now.
Yeah. And I heard you got a new job too. Congrats.
Yeah, I did.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Thank you. I took a regular Joe job. Well, it's a little different from a regular Joe job, but yeah, man, I was doing my own thing, working for myself, and I was spending more time working for the man than the job I have now, to be honest, because I was a slave to. Sometimes, businesses, you can become a slave to your business versus it giving you more freedom, and
absolutely.
That's the way my business was. And it's been nice to be able to take all my experience and offer it to a company that's willing to pay me what I'm worth for the experience I do have, and ask me to help them and be part of their. So I get to be an intrapreneur. And so it's been nice, man. It's been really nice. It's been given me, and I'm just getting started, so I'm real busy and with this COVID thing hitting, but it's given me a lot more time now to reorganize my life, and I'll be able to give more quality time to the stream now, and to all the Hexicans, and make the stream better, and make it a little more entertaining, and we've got some things planned me and DC when he's done with his class to add to the stream. So yeah, man, things are going good.
Awesome. Yeah, and thank you for doing this, by the way. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun, and just to shoot the shit with you guys, it's fun. And thanks for the platform and
You're welcome.
low key atmosphere. I like it.
Yeah, it's unique in the space that we've got a place for just everybody that wants to be part of the community to come on and just ask questions, talk shit, have fun. It's kind of it's been a cool deal. It's been a lot of fun, and I think that it from everyone who's messaged me and people like you that told me that it's brought a lot of value to the community, and I'm just real grateful and glad that it did.
Amen. All right, so you want to get to it?
Yeah, man. Let's get to it.
Good. I know we got 2 hours now, so we gotta hurry up on some of these bullet points. So yeah, feel free to stop me, or if you have any questions or something like strikes your fancy, just stop me. Feel free.
Yeah.
So it took me a while just to kind of digest what happened with Big Payday and the few days leading up to that, and then also the dump after. So there was a dump before, which was unexpected, at least to me. And then also the staking percentage was a lot higher than a lot of people expected. So as you know, it affected the Big Payday. And a lot of people were upset. You should have seen the Bear channel that day. It was pretty crazy. There was a lot of FUD and yelling and saying it's a scam's going to zero. There was a lot of that. There's still some variations of that on Twitter and everywhere, on Telegram too. But at the end of the day, if you were a believer in Hex long term, I think that you had to have a level of trust and belief and faith in the OA and the actions of the OA as a benevolent whale or a benevolent entity.
Yep.
Or as Silver likes to call it, an AI, perhaps.
So let's talk about the dip real quick before you get into that.
Okay.
The dip before, because that was I wasn't expecting that either. What do you think that was about? I mean, so Big Payday's coming. Everybody's expecting, to double or triple their stacks. The outside money knew, inside money that was sitting on the sidelines knew. I wonder what it was. Maybe there was some sell off to try and get it to dump. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, I was looking at some of the chain analysis over those few days leading up to it, and it seemed like there was one big wallet that was selling down. I think once we hit about we went to 1.1 or 1.5 cents, and then we dipped hard, and then we bounced back, right? And then I think on that bounce back period, he started selling at 0.009, and he just dumped it all the way down to 0.06 himself. And then I think the other guys jumped in at the last second and they kind of front ran the dip to try to buy back lower post Big Payday. So there was a lot of guys selling at 0.006 all the way down to I think 0.04-ish. So I think it was obviously some traders that were trying to front run, and then there was that guy. I don't know who it was specifically. There's some people that have speculated that it was the guy that runs hexinfo.io. That was selling the big bag, but I'm not sure entirely who it was.
Now, did that wallet end up buying back in, or did it dump and go out?
No, it dumped, and it was going into, I believe, another coin that's a clone. So there was some FUD too associated with that a little bit for a period of time, and but for the most part, yeah, I think it was people that were short-term thinking, that were traders that were front running, and the short-term thinkers, or people trying to outsmart the market. And then there was just people that panic sold after the Big Payday, or just immediately got their free coins and just sold and wanted to get out. So we, as you know, we whipped to 0.0019, and then we bounced really quickly off that, which was impressive, and we've held relatively stable and done over 100% from the lows, which is very bullish. And what are your thoughts on the price since Big Payday? Do you have any? Are you surprised, or are you pretty much standard, you think?
Well, I didn't expect to see the dip hold as long as it did. But then as I look at the chart and look at historically what it's holding, and it's basically holding, support. So Hex has been on a trajectory. Yeah, we've had pumps and some dumps, but those were all because I think because it's so easy to move the price right now that the whales have more of effect on it than probably we'll see in the future. So the dips and the pumps that we've seen were because of big market buys and whatnot. But it's still continuing to follow its support line, straight up basically. It's doing well, and I'm not surprised as in retrospect as I look at it. I was a little surprised about the OA, pleasantly surprised, but surprised because we've talked about everything ad nauseum on this show, and that was the one. I mean, we've hinted at, maybe it's going to stake, blah, 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 but we didn't ever really talk about it in the context that it was done, because basically it was watching the front runners. It was watching, anybody that was going to try and, just capitalize and dump it and this and that. And it protected all the stakers, and that was freaking awesome. To be honest, that was it protected the whole ecosystem. I mean, is what it really did, by stopping people from jumping in and dumping a bunch of coins on the market, and dropping it even further than it would have done, than what it did do. So I wasn't surprised at its action. I was pleasantly surprised that it did act, because all of the FUD about the OA, and I mean, we always knew it was functional, that it was a what, not a who, and that it was there to do good things for Hex, to actually help the price and to help the stakers, and there was a lot that it could do, but I didn't expect it to do that. And then like it was like right after it came in and wiped everything out, it just receded back into itself and locked itself back up, like, hey, let me fix this, and then back in. It was really cool to see that. And but made me excited, because now we know what it does. We know its function, or at least one of its functions was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like there was a lot of shock factor for people going through it, like in real time, seeing their big payday every day, like cascading down, feeling like, oh, I'm losing all this money. This is my money. I'm losing it. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
He took it from me, right? That's the wrong mentality to have regarding the OA, of course, right?
Yeah.
Because going back to the benevolent entity, if you're in Hex and you believe long term, then you already trust that this entity is going to do what's best in the best interest of the coin itself and the ecosystem, like you mentioned. So as a result of, even after the 85% dump, Hex was pretty much for the most part within as a top 20 crypto. There was a point when it went below 20, when it went below 2.03 maybe, or 0.02. But for the most part, since the dump, it's been a top 20 crypto, even despite an 85% drop, which is very impressive to me. So I think the name for this period of time after the big payday, and where we're shaking out some of the weak hands and letting the long-term people accumulate, is kind of like the honeymoon phase.
Yes.
So I see it as the OA staked. It took a large chunk of the big payday. However, it immediately unstaked, like the day of, as soon as it could, sat liquid, so boosting market cap greatly, which is why the market cap was able to stay in the top 20 so long. And then obviously the biggest thing now is the APY was 40%, like a few days after big payday. So now we're in this phase where just your time in the market is now more important than timing the market. So I see a lot of traders getting wrecked, and people, short-term, thinkers, are getting wrecked because they're trying to time the market, when is with now in the honeymoon phase of Hex, it's better just to stake, buy, stake for the long term, get those shares and collect the 40% APY on average. Why are you going to try to out trade that 40% APY?
How you can say that with a straight face, or not like laughing, giggling, and excited, is like, it blows my mind, because you just said 40% APY. There is nowhere on the face of the planet where you're going to get 40% APY. It just doesn't exist anywhere, you know, and to be pulling that off of a crypto that is solid and has been solidly doing these types of numbers is, I mean, it's amazing to me that that's what we actually have in a cryptocurrency is that type of APY, and that type of APY guaranteed by an immutable code. And I did say that. I said guaranteed. That's what we're getting right now. There's no way anybody can take your interest away from you that you've made. The price is going to dip and turn and jump and all that kind of stuff, but it's not going to take away your return on your hex by staking it. So it's something very unique in the space in crypto. I mean, in investing period, you're just not going to get those type of gains anywhere. And that is absolutely freaking what is amazing right now. And somebody just made a comment in I think it was YouTube, Classborn. So Classborn says Big Payday was a big letdown, watching the whole year, 4 million hex at the Big Payday column, watching it getting diluted to 400K was a big letdown. OA, not on the white paper, not on a website too. Investors not aware of it. So let me tell you this, Classborn. I'm not gonna, you know, like blast you or anything. You're addressing and voicing some concerns, and unfortunately, they're just uneducated, and they're wrong because the OA, we've been talking about it for a whole year and what its function could be, the many functions that it does have. We've even had Dev Kyle come on the show, a guy who helped build the project, build Hex, and help model all of its interest payouts and those types of things. And he even said with like a matter of fact, like, why are you even asking the question? Of course, the OA is there to improve the ecosystem, to improve Hex, to protect the project itself. So the OA, we've known about it and we've all talked about it. And Hexologist show, we've all talked about what, you know, the OA isn't here to dump on you. It's here to protect the staker class, because see, even though you saw that big pump, we've been talking about it here. That wasn't your coins. Those weren't your coins. Yeah, there was a column there and it was tantalizing and it was tempting you to believe that those were your coins, but they weren't. The Big Payday was never guaranteed. If you read the white paper, it tells you how the Big Payday was set up and how the math was done. And we should have all known that with that much Hex sitting off to the side there, with that much Hex out there. I mean, we were only at that point, we were 9% staked at the time before Big Payday. Was it 9 or 10, something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
It was about 9 or 10% stake. So there was a lot of Hex out there that we knew was probably going to come in. And then there's this big entity out there sitting there. Now, when you think about it, it's like, okay, so if everybody does jump in right now, those people are the dumpers. They're going to want to dump the next day right after Big Payday, right the minute after. And what's that going to do? It's going to crash it. So what did the OA do? It protected itself. Now, did you get an airdrop? Did you get a good amount of coins to your bag? Damn straight you did. You probably doubled the size of your bag. What did we get? About double? Is that what it was?
If you were 10 years and beyond on average, then you got a double. If you were less than that, you know, you got around a 65%. If you were average, you got about a 65% bonus.
65% bonus isn't bad for just getting in and staking your Hex, because you look at all the other coins out there, and even so when the others do their, you know, airdrops or whatever they did, as far as their ICOs, when they were making illegal what do you call it, securities, when they would sell and tell people, oh, well, if you buy $3 million worth, we'll give you 90% bonus, you know? And that's what they were doing. That's what the ICOs, the illegal ICOs were doing, the securities. And so Hex not being an ICO, not being a security, actually dropped on you, you know, if you staked, if you did the right behavior, which was stake long term, then you got a nice big bonus, you know, and that's what that's what it was intended to do, was to reward stakers and create new whales, is what Richard was saying. So for those people that did stake long and did get in early and staked long early, those are the people that benefit most from Big Payday.
Yeah, and most of those people aren't complaining it today. You know,
exactly. Those are the people who aren't complaining.
Yeah. They see the big picture. They trust OA. They know that they're getting trustless interest, especially before Genesis shares. You're getting over 60% on 10-year plus shares. So, what are you going to complain about? If you're getting 60% a year APY, and locked up,
it's
and
insane.
On top of the gains, right? So you're getting more coins, and then those coins are worth more over time. So it's like multiplicative effect on your gains. But yeah, one thing I wanted to talk about is the next bullet point was Hex was actually the first, I guess Big Payday was the first stock split event that I'm aware of. Oops, lights came off. 1 second.
There you
There
go.
we go. So it was the first event that was a stock split of sorts that actually rewarded long-term holders over short-term holders. So usually when a stock split occurs, like Tesla or Apple in the last year or so, is you issue more outstanding shares, and then the price drops to that equivalent amount of price relative to the new shares. So usually if you
and then it usually sees a dump from a little bit of a sell-off.
Yeah, you get a little dump because you have more coins now. You have double the coins, so the price is now half, but your value is still the same. So that's what the Big Payday was, but it actually rewarded longer term stakers even more than shorter term stakers. So that one aspect of Hex is unique because it's never happened before that I know of, and I think Richard's mentioned that. So I just wanted to point that out. That was pretty cool. So yeah, actually, the next point I wanted to touch on was, so when I was first researching Hex, one of my early skepticisms was, okay, this sounds great, but it might be too good for the early people, and then the late people, like people that hear about it later, might not want to join because they feel like they missed out, or the price left them behind, or they're just getting a bad deal, or what have you. But after seeing the project go through a little over a year now of its maturity, and seeing how the staking works and the interest works and how it's a dynamic system, I feel comfortable recommending, not like officially recommending, but like telling people about Hex, because of the APY is not going to be, it's not like a Ponzi style APY. It's something that everyone can benefit from. Since the OA is not staking and staying liquid, the APY can remain high for many years, and they can still get in now, especially on this dip, and stake out for a long period of time and still get a relative amount of shares compared to the people that got in this last year or so.
So what's your opinion on that? So you just said that the APY can stay high, for long term. How long do you think that this is gonna be? I mean, how long can we be up above 20-30% APY without FOMO just driving this thing to the moon? Because that's a lot of APY, and once the more Hex becomes legitimate and solid, and everybody, and the FUD goes away, and it's still sitting there, and it's a top 10, top 5 crypto, and it's never been down, and it's and it's pulling a 40 APY. I mean, how long do you think that this could last?
Well, the OA, if the OA remains unstaked, it can stay for a long time, because it's getting diluted, of course, from the inflation paid to the stakers every day, as you see in the, payout per T share. So it's getting diluted in that sense because most of it's not staked, even though it does have some 10-year stakes associated with it. If they continue to not stake those coins, it's gonna remain high for the long period of time, unless the adoption just kicks off and it becomes a mass adopted product. But in that case, if it becomes a mass adopted product and all these new people are coming in, buying and staking for a long period of time, the price has to, based on supply and demand, right? Theory, the price should go up over time or trend upwards in that sense, because the supply is being locked up constantly. You're getting new users. They're telling more people about it. You know, they're buying more. They see the gains and they buy more, right? Because a lot of us, we bought early, we saw the gains, but then we bought more, right? We FOMO'd the pump candle sometimes. You know, people do that. You know, we're human. Yeah. So, you know, and obviously the gatekeeping is still affecting Hex. So there's, like Richard always says, there's opportunity there because there's gatekeeping. So I expect the APY to trend down, but what I'm saying is it can remain over double digits, high double digits for a long period of time is if the OA remains unstaked.
Which looks like that will be the case because there would be no real reason for it to do so. You know, I mean, that big payday was really the only reason it probably needed to do that. Unless it was trying to stop a big stake from trying to dump or whatever, you know.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know how protective it can. I guess it could be real protective of that somehow, some way. Hey, thanks, Toby Wan, for the Ninja Guinea. Silver qualified how much of the liquid is not the OA. So couldn't we calculate worst case APY?
You could. But then you have to know how many coins are on exchanges, how many such as on Uniswap. You know,
that's what I'm saying. The maths was like,
yeah.
I'm like,
I mean,
you got to gather all the metrics, and it's just like, I don't like math anyway. Last thing I want to, that's something for Silver. Tell Silver to do that. And by the way, thanks for the Ninja Guinea. I appreciate that. Toby Wan. Yeah, that's a lot of work. And I mean, it can be done, but that's somebody like Silver can pop that out and leave it out there for us. That would be cool. But you know what you just said that resonated was that so the staker class, the people that we were talking to and letting them know what we were doing, because we had figured out Hex early on, all of us, you know, putting our heads together and listening to Richard and understanding what Hex was. We all knew longer, earlier, staking early, staking long, and just waiting it out, waiting out big payday, not getting excited about it. Even some of us went as far as emergency end staking some early big stakes in order to push them out further to get bigger stacks of shares. And that's paying off. All that is paying off now because of the APY. And the beautiful thing about that is that so we're accumulating right now because of the APY. But if we lose our APY, that just means one thing: that price is going up because people are adopting. And that you win no matter what. If you're staker class, you win no matter what. You're gaining huge APY gains right now. And then if it does FOMO and you start to lose some APY, you're going to regain it even more in price go up.
Right. And a quick little point is the APY will actually reduce the risk of the portfolio or the asset because you're getting such a high dividend. Let's say it's not necessarily a dividend, but the interest as dividend, just to make the analogy. That's going to reduce the risk of holding Hex by a lot because you're getting such a big cushion that even if there's poor price performance over long periods of time, you're still going to be getting that APY, which is going to boost your returns or at least give you some cushion as far as some of the price volatility downwards. And then usually if you hold long enough, you know, you're going to realize some gains, or you're going to see some of these gains. And Hex, it's only been, the bear markets have been very quick.
Yes.
And sometimes they've been prolonged, but they seem to be, you know, dependent on what's going on at the time, but they seem to be kind of bought up pretty quick and then, you know, chop, and then we take the next leg up. But another analogy I wanted to bring back to Hex was, I know you're not a boomer, but you're like the tier below, but I'm sure you were around in the 80s when interest rates were in the teens, right? They were 10 for a little bit. 15,
well, that's when they were teaching us how to save in savings accounts, and we did, you know, and you put in there, and that was a decent return. You know, I don't think it was quite that high, but it might have been. I don't know, but
It got there. Yeah. At 1 year, I think it was like 18.
Yeah. And I mean, and that was good. And saving made sense back then. And CDs and savings bonds and muni bonds and all those things made sense back then. Now, not so much.
Right. Yeah, the yields. So what I was talking about with the APY or the interest, right? So back then, I've heard stories from people, clients, or just people you run into, acquaintances. They'll tell me that when I tell them, I'm in finance, they'll tell me like, or we'll talk about CDs, or it'll be brought up for whatever reason. They'll say, "Oh yeah, like back in the day, someone I know, or my aunt or my mom, had like a 10-year CD paying 15 or 18% a year, and they had that locked in because it was like the agreement between you and the bank at the time, and then rates dropped to like 8, let's say. So you were getting a 10-year CD at 18% back then in the 80s. So that's kind of similar to how Hex works with the shares, right? So if you have more shares, if you have those Genesis shares, you're going to get more of the APY for being early and kind of, for being before Big Payday and the big share price increase. Whereas nowadays, in today's current environment, if you buy a CD, it's about 1% roughly, and if you do jumbo, you get a little more, but it's about 1%, 1.5 maybe. So imagine if you could lock in that 18% for 10 years, 15 years. Well, that opportunity you have right now, which is similar in Hex, is because you can buy and stake and you can lock in your share price for 10 up to 15 years and get that high APY. So if the OA is going to remain unstaked, you're going to continue to get high APY, and you're going to be locked in at the share price, which is always going up. So it can only, that's kind of what I was thinking of. Like, that kind of came to my mind when I was thinking about Hex the other day, regarding locking in your high APY now, and then you'll be very happy in the future. 10 years from now, you're going to be like, wow, I can't believe I did this. This is a great decision because I got all this interest, right? I 10x, 20x my stack just in interest alone, not including the USD. That's all speculation.
Yeah, the USD. I mean, even when the USD dropped, it almost touched 01, right? It was like 02. It was like 02, right? And then it almost hit I think I had a limit order in there that I bought an ETH or two when it dropped down to 2. And I mean, that was that, even that at those prices, you look at your stack and you go, you know what, I won already. If you got in, before Big Payday, and you looked at your stack even after Big Payday, maybe not if you bought it at the top the week before, you might be, just now starting to get yourself straight. You're about halfway back there. But if you had anything before that, prior to that, you're looking at your stack going, man, I've already gained, and if you got in early, then you're already sitting on a small retirement fund or something, if you got in decently early. So it's done real well, just in price alone. Better than anybody. I don't think some people might have expected to go a little higher, but it was better than I expected it to go. I mean, it did well price wise, but the gains, I didn't expect the APY gains. I did not expect it to be that high. I was told it could go that high. I was told that, because when we first started watching the stakes happen, I mean, we were like 30, 40, 50%, staked in the beginning, because there wasn't a lot of supply. I didn't really take that into account. I just always thought it was going to be a high staking percentage, and that we were never going to really see, that I thought people were going to be smart and get their Hex and stake it, versus, with so much of it being liquid, so, I didn't expect
back
that.
in, I think, January and February, it was about 90% or 95. Like, it was back when Hexstat was a thing. It was like 90%, because you look back on the main website and you see the payout per t-shirt, and it was just, it was barely anything. But then we started, as the OA realized we need to increase market cap, become a better APY for new people as an enticement, Big Payday as well. So, I mean, it was all Hex was run like amazingly well. Everyone on this show and other shows like Hexo has talked about it. Like has been an amazing launch period. Better than expected.
Best I've ever seen in crypto.
Yeah, no hiccups, no technical issues, security issues. And the price performance on top of that, and it's been an almost absolute perfect launch, even if you compare it to like EOS or some of these other ones.
Yeah.
So I've just been super impressed and excited about what's to come.
Yeah. And no threatening SEC letters or anything like that. No articles. The only real articles that come out about Hex are, just people that are speculating and fudding. You don't see anybody with any legitimate, reason for there being a problem with Hex. It's always, in my opinion, I worry about this Richard Hart guy. In my opinion, I worry about this OA thing. Where's the ETH? All these stupid, ridiculous things, but none of them with any merit or validity or anything as far as a way to really rebut Hex's performance, success, any of that. So, I mean, when is when is crypto gonna realize what X is, and I mean there's a lot of money coming into crypto right now, and I think that the smart money is gonna end up seeing Hex.
Yeah, I mean we all hope so. So that's a good transition. I was thinking like if Staker, it's already a great app. I love it. I look at it all the time. What I'm seeing for the next year for Hex is like it's all kind of coming together in my mind in the fact that it seems like Staker app is going to be for the retail user, right? So there could be a fiat on ramp. It will stake for you. It'll combine your it will combine all your gas fees to be efficient. It's going to be very user friendly, which is saying something in crypto.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be like Hex's Grayscale.
Right. Yeah. And then I was going to say that
Fund
then
manager, basically.
Grayscale could be for the institutional investors and the accredited investors, which means you just have over $1 million in net worth, not including your home, or have a consistent like $250,000 a year for the last 3 years. Right. So those people and institutions could do Grayscale. And then the retail guy, the average Joe, you and I can do Staker app. And that will be the onboarding tool, efficient, low cost, quick, easy. And I think that's like the best. That just sounds like an amazing onboarding strategy for this next year, 2021, right? We've got more institutional money coming in. They're all buying Bitcoin. They're all buying, Grayscale assets or, individual ETH Trust or Zen Cash, all these other ones. But then there's also the market cap indexes, which is going to be the top 20 market cap coins, or what have you. Are you there?
I'm still here, so go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. So let me go to my Grayscale notes. I know one of it. So just real quick, what are your thoughts on the Staker app so far? Do you have thoughts or things you would improve, or what?
I think that that Staker app probably created a lot of the for lack of better term, all of the butthurt feelings out there from Big Payday, because everybody was looking at their stakes in real time and looking at, Big Payday and all these things and doing math. And then they got to see, what their real returns were. And but that's, the only thing that I can say about it not being good for maybe people's mindsets or whatever, but Staker app is brilliant. The guys that put it together, Steph and Firebun, are the best. And the interface, the information, the vision that they put into it, I think you're right. That's going to be more of a retail entry, and people are going to use it like it's going to be the Coinbase of Hex more than likely, and I think they did a great job on it. And I think Staker is definitely a big positive for Hex and the community. And like you said, some kind of a fund is going to probably be the thing that blows us up as far as a crypto goes. I mean, it's going to take more than just the crypto community to put Hex where it's supposed to be, where it should be. And it's an institutional tool is what it is now, because now crypto has a use case. There's a real use case for crypto, and that's Hex. I mean, think about it. You can't do shit with crypto. You can't trade. You can trade it and speculate on it, and that's it. And that's all it's good for. And that's actually what's hurt crypto is all the trading and all of the margin trading and all the other shit that's been going on. So that's all what's hurt crypto. And the use case for it, which was supposed to be, an exchange of value or whatever, and its purchasing power and speed, but it's crap for that. There's really there's so many other products out there that blow crypto away as far as being a source of exchange, and crypto just isn't it. But having trustless interest, now it's got a use case. I think that Hex could possibly save crypto after this thing happens with this bull run right now. I mean, Richard said it's probably going to be a 3-year bull run. I don't know how or why it would be a 3-year bull run, because I mean, if people really knew if you're a fund manager like Grayscale and you were going, okay, I need to know everything I can about this, because we're gonna start putting multiple millions of dollars of very, very wealthy people's money into this crypto thing. But if you really knew Bitcoin, you wouldn't risk it. You wouldn't put that kind of money into it, other than its marketability. And maybe that's what they're banking on. Maybe that's what they're putting their money in, is crypto itself, and the fact that Bitcoin is marketable, and it has the name. Because to be honest, it's slow, it's outdated, it's dangerous. It could possibly have more bugs in it. It's already had bugs. So, I mean, why would somebody want to put multiple millions of dollars into something like that? And, I'm not as bullish on Bitcoin as Richard may be. I mean, he said, he didn't say, hey, for sure it's going to go 3 years. Usually when Richard says something, it's pretty much rooted in some solid information, and of course his freaking brain, and he's been right every time so far that I've seen. So I'm sure he's right this time too. I just don't see it myself yet. But people do stupid things, and they could keep this bull market pumping for a few years, based on this weak ass crypto we call Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think the institutional people and the Wall Street people love the narrative of scarcity with Bitcoin. The fact that there's only a limited supply, then they can kind of create a sign of value to it. I think they just like that story, and it's a big market cap, so they feel a little bit safer. Even the ironic thing is they shouldn't feel safer, but since it's such a big market cap, they feel like it's the safest option.
Yeah.
So with Grayscale has their GBTC, which trades on a lot of brokerage houses. So I mean, obviously, it'd be amazing if Hex had that. But what I was thinking is, or I guess my question was, like, obviously the main use case for Hex is staking. So if there's going to be institutional people or accredited investors that are going into Hex, I'm sure they're going to want to stake. Well, how do you do staking on behalf of someone else?
Yeah.
You know, like you're going to have to like sit down with them and talk to them like, okay, when does it expire? You know,
Well,
like
the platform, you'd have to have a platform that allowed you to stake on it. You know what I mean? I mean,
right.
it would have to be a DEX fund manager, maybe.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to think in my head like how it's going to work, the functionality behind it. But I obviously think it's a great idea because obviously you're bringing more, you know, your use case and your product to the masses and some of the big, larger sums of money. And obviously we know the liquidity on Uniswap is so low that it can move very quickly with a big buy, a market buy, or you know, so maybe this would have to be OTC, or if there's a liquidity aside, you know, set aside for that, that'd be cool. But yeah, that would just be amazing because then it would bring way more investors to the space. They would at least hear about it. But since it's being gate kept by so many people, like it's hard to foresee a future, like a, you know, in the near future, it being just everywhere all of a sudden. So I feel like it's going to be a slow grind. They're going to have to prove legitimacy, prove that the OA is, you know, a benevolent thing. People are going to have to build trust with that over time, I think.
Yeah. Well, and I've always thought that that's, you know, it's about time. It, you know, almost true to its colors. You know, Hex is all about time. You know, it's about delayed gratification. So why wouldn't that be true in its adoption too? You know, we've already kind of, I mean, as we were growing year one, and we were seeing these big spikes, and we hit that 1 point, you know, penny six, you know, penny was a penny 5.9 or penny six right there at that. You know, I was thinking at that point, I had the same feeling I had when Bitcoin was first, you know, going 20K. It was like, it's like, this is never going to end. It's going to 100K, you know, and it's like, okay, here goes Hex. It's going to 3 cents. You know, it's freaking Lambos and, you know, all that for everybody now. And Hex said, no, we're going to keep on this trajectory, and we're going to keep going. It's going to keep pumping. And yeah, we're going to probably see big pumps. But I think that Hex is still going to do what it's supposed to do and slowly roll itself into, you know, bigger prices. And I think we're going to see some more, you know, big pumps like we saw in the beginning, where it pumps and it stabilizes itself. Because I mean, when that's what happens when big whales get in and they stake, price goes up and then it stabilizes up there. You know, it finds itself because all that staked, and it just, you know, it just bought confidence into the product itself. So, you know, I think that's what we'll see more of as we do get some, I don't know if you call them institutional money of crypto, you know, crypto whales start to come in more and bring more, you know, value to the price. They're going to stake it, and it's going to sit there, and it's going to just pump the price and hold again. So that's what I think we're going to see. It's more of that.
Yeah, it's been great to see the large stakes go through. You know, we had that 300 million one. There was a $9 million USD one. It's been pretty incredible to see this early already. So, and like see that much faith, and it only took like what 3 or 4 whales to take us here. You know, to at least get us to these levels and get more interest.
It wasn't much. It really wasn't much.
Whales. Yeah,
just a handful, and there's so many more out there. You know, so many more out there.
Yeah. So, and you know, Hex still has a lot of some catalysts that could happen in the next year, like exchange listings. And Richard was talking about the fiat on ramp that could be, you know, Hex based or Hex sponsored in a way, which would be incredible. And then margin trading would be another use case, quote unquote. And then yeah, just the gatekeeping. If we can kind of just work on getting no coiners and then spreading that around, I think that's a good start. But because most of the crypto community is I feel like a lost hope at this point. Maybe some, you know, like the Dash people was a great idea. Maybe we'll get some of these XRP dead bodies floating on the river. We'll catch them.
Yeah.
But I don't have a lot of faith in that because they don't really like anything else other than XRP. But Yeah, it's going to be a great 2021. We have a great macro environment for crypto. We have money printing up the ass, and we have, Nasdaq's all-time highs, S&P rates are very low. The economy is doing pretty bad, but the stock market is doing really well, and people are just buying up assets. Real estate is doing fine, minus commercials. So it's just a bullish time right now.
Yeah.
Everyone's excited, and like we're hearing a lot of new people get into crypto, or at least ask about it now that Bitcoin hit all-time highs.
Yep.
There's like I'm seeing athletes and celebrities asking like, hey, what's Bitcoin? Or like the Dallas Mavericks accepted for their games this year. Like you can get a discount if you use Bitcoin to buy tickets. So
Nice.
I think it's just becoming more mainstream. And obviously, if Richard's right, we could see a bull run for the next 2-3 years, which would coincide with the 10,000x in 2.5 years.
It sure would, wouldn't it?
So that aspect of the launch of Hex was also genius because it was in December of 2019, which basically from then on, ETH, did a 5x from there, and Bitcoin did like 3x or something, whatever.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe Exotic, for the diamond. He just dropped a diamond. I said, John, can you talk about the OA possibly being AI?
I don't think so. I think it's one or two, like a few people that are doing it, because I don't think AI is that smart yet in like general intelligence yet. Has very good specific use cases where AI is very intelligent, but it doesn't have like a general intelligence yet. It's not like iRobot yet. Maybe in like 50 years or so, I think. But that's what technologists say, that the AI like Terminator thing is a little bit too optimistic of AI, like technology advancing that quickly. So I don't think the AOA is as a AI. I think it's a humans.
Yeah, I think that some guy XRP guy just posted and he just got muted. You get to hold his 20 cent XRP, or his 20 cent XRP. Good for you, buddy. Good for you. I don't think it's AI either. I do think that there is an entity behind it. I don't think it's one person. I don't think it's Richard. I think that there is a group of some type of a consortium, let's just say that, or syndicate of some type that is operating it, making it function, having consensus of what it's going to do. I think it's a group also. Could be one person that's just smart as hell. How many people can be that smart and just operate something like that? And so there's only a few people out there that can do it, and probably Richard's one of them. So, so it could very well be, but I think it's a group, or at least there's a group that is behind it. So that's what I think there, Hextoshi. Oh, thanks. I mean, that wasn't Hextoshi that asked that. That was it Hextoshi? Yeah. The Mavs. Wait, nice, Wick. I'm watching the Mavs play right now. He said that it's been a few years that he's been allowing Bitcoin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cool. So.
Well, I've obviously watched like CNBC and that, finance shows or just the website. And so many hedge fund people are talking about crypto now, which is funny to see. Like Paul Tudor Jones, you got Stanley Druckenmiller, Ray Dalio has even said good things about it. So it's just like shocking to see that sentiment change so quickly. Like what happened between 2017 and now? Not much, in Bitcoin. It's just the price movements and stuff. But now all of a sudden it's like it's the best thing ever. We're putting it into our treasury fund. It's the best store of value in the world. So it's just interesting to see. And if that maybe that can translate to Hex, if people start to realize that how much was free claimed of Bitcoin and the APY, of course, and the security. I think the security is just overlooked by a lot of people.
I wonder how many people that were concerned about the Bitcoin signatures and claiming. There was a lot of concerns about the claiming. and that all turned out to be, nothing, just a big nothing burger.
Right.
And so it was like, I wonder if there were people that were like, damn, I guess I should have done that when I was worried about getting scammed out. So that's like something that's been put to bed. The Big Payday has been put to bed. Now, well, I mean, now they have a different conspiracy that, hey, Richard rug pulled your Big Payday, or the Big Payday was rug pulled by the OA or whatever, But,
Yeah.
But again, if you were really knew what Hex was all about, if you were paying attention to this show and others, it wasn't about Big Payday, and it wasn't about, quick gains. It was always about, staking long and getting benefited for that. So you would have read the tea leaves properly. You would have done a lot better if you got wrecked during that.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is follow Richard's calls and his tweets, and just kind of read between the lines. That's all you need to know.
That's been the roadmap right there. I mean, I have learned that, like when we had the Uniswap drop. The Uniswap drop was like, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen to Richard. I mean, I had a lot of wallets because I was playing with all the dApps, so I had a lot of wallets out there that I was utilizing to mess with the dApps and whatnot, and doing different things, trying to use Hex and see how it worked, and setting up other wallets, and so I had a lot of them. So when they said they were going to do an airdrop for whoever was conducting business on Uniswap, I was like, fuck, this is awesome, man. I'm gonna clean up. So I cleaned up, and Richard said, he goes, hey, and read between the lines. I was like, I was hanging on every word. Okay, what does he want us to do with this stuff? What is he saying that this is going to happen to this? And I mean, it was kind of obvious. I mean, you get it, it's going to dump, but he said right away, and man, I dumped all that stuff at, right at the top, and bought Hex right there. And that has been, that was huge. That was huge.
And Hex was on a dip when that happened too.
Exactly.
So that's why it was like, and the funny thing is, on that day, it kept pumping, and people were losing their minds. Like, how is it pumping when you just gave all this free money? And just people say the same thing about Hex. Like, okay, you're just giving this free money, it's just going to dump forever. Well, the opposite happened.
Exactly.
So people just tend to be wrong about a lot of things.
Yeah. Especially about other people's behaviors, which is funny.
It's the OA itself is you can't predict any of the anything that's ever done, because it's constantly, it's fluid. It's not a static thing, right? It's just constantly observing the environment and adapting. In that sense, it is kind of like AI, but I don't think it is AI. But
I don't think so either.
But it adapts. It's like an animal in the wilderness. It's adapting to what's going on around it, and doing what's best for the stakers and the holders.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, Navi Hex, thanks for the 1 month sub you just gifted. I'm trying to get better with that so that once we do get this OBS thing working, I think my PC, I think I got a new PC, but I really don't have a new PC. To me, it's new, but it's not. It's an old iMac. It's a few years old, and decent processor, but it just can't handle the stuff that's going on out there. And for some reason, Macs don't like open source stuff anyway. And so every time somebody makes something like OBS, it's open source. It just doesn't fit in the Mac world for some reason very well. So all you got to do all these plugins, weird things just to make it work, and it just doesn't like it. So I'm just going to get a PC, go back to PC and get off the Mac and the boomer computer, and so that all this stuff will stop screwing up. Anyway, what is it? Has John Wick's idea changed in relation to Hex and retirement funds since his last appearance on DS? And that's from day 43 OG.
Nothing's changed. You still can do it even after Big Payday. It's just something you have to set up on your own and take a little bit of initiative.
Are you talking about like self-directed IRAs?
Yeah, I think that's what he was mentioning. Yeah, like the Roth stuff. If you want it to be tax-free, or you could do it You can do taxable, but you get tax deduction if you want. It's up to you.
Yeah, gonna have to figure out that stuff too.
I'm pretty happy. I mean, I set up mine before Big Payday and staked, 10 plus years. So I'm pretty happy with mine. It looks pretty good.
And
You know,
that's your self-directed, right?
yeah, because you get, with the Big Payday, you got like 100% of your principal just as a bonus. And then the APY on those stakes is like 50, 60%. So again, locking in that APY is just ridiculous for the early guys. But still, it's still great to get in now, but it was just awesome.
I don't think it pumped as much as we all thought it was going to, the share price. I don't
Yeah,
think.
so yeah, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. So
Yeah.
the projections that Kyle did about the 80x on the 10-year and the 250x on the 555, that has to be changed drastically down, unfortunately. So we that model and expected a lot more or a lot less staking. I think it was a 50% global stake, and it was like 98% right on Big Payday.
Uh-huh.
And then,
But we're back down to 9s and 10s.
what do
I
you mean?
think it's even less than that as far as staking percentage goes.
Oh yeah. So so your Big Payday was reduced by the OA staking on those few days. However, you're going to recoup those gains through the higher APY now. But the caveat is you have to remain staked and you have to remain staked along. So
Yes.
it's a genius way to get people to, again, the longer believers, to really be locked in, engaged in the project, getting those high APY. It's just brilliant as far as the design of how it was, post Big Payday. So basically, the models that he said, the 80x over 10 years, I think. I mean, you can't do an exact thing because everything's moving parts, of course. But like I'm thinking on the 10-year, I've been saying about 20 to 30x if I'm telling someone new.
Mm-hmm.
And to be conservative, like of course it could be larger and people are going to be upset, like it's so low, it's so low. But to be conservative when you're telling new people, I don't think you should overpromise the X's. You should underpromise the X's.
Yeah.
And then on 555, I'm saying a roughly 60 to 100x. That's what my projections say.
Wow.
Right now, it could change.
Yeah.
Penalties and stuff will affect it greatly.
Well, I mean, right now, the way it sits with that APY, I mean, it's back on track to be bigger gains than what you're talking about right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a good point. Great point to bring up. So the Big Payday, yes, you lost out on a lot of those coins. You thought you were going to get a 5x and then you got a 1x. Well, in the long run, over those long stakes that you would have got that 5x on, the APY earned over those every single day over that 10-year stake or that 555 stake is going to outweigh the Big Payday by a significant portion.
Mm-hmm.
So in the end, it might actually be better for you that the OA stake has helped the price, and then you're able to get that share price at such a low cost early.
Well, I was thinking that even if you 3x your bag on Big Payday, that was going to get dwarfed by interest gains and how what a 10-year stake would look like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anything beyond like 7.5 years, 5 to 7 years, anything beyond that, you were going to see just insane gains, especially if we sit like this for a couple, 2-3 years. I mean, that's going to be huge, which I don't know if we can sit like this for 2 or 3 years, but it sure would be nice.
Yeah, just for perspective, like if you staked 1 million hex for 10 years, you got, let's say, $1 million in Big Payday bonus. Going back to the model I just proposed, obviously model, could be very different, but at the end of that stake, just from interest alone, you're going to get 30 million. So 30 million in interest, 1 million in Big Payday, just to give you perspective.
Yeah.
That's, it's not a drop. It's still significant because the price could be a lot, higher than 10 years from now, of course.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of your return, it's going to be, that's like 2%, 3% of your return overall. So, a lot of the Big Payday stuff was, of course, marketing, a way to get people in, but the share price not going up as high as we expected really affected the models, I think, because I was expecting it to go to like 2.7, 2.6, but it went to like 1.6. So that's a huge difference in share price. So the models, I think we're also expecting a lot higher share price increase after the Big Payday.
Yeah. They were. I mean, we all were. We were talking about, hey, get your Genesis shares now. I mean, it was a significant jump. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as high as we were kind of predicting or thinking that it was going to go.
Yeah.
Let's see what the chat room's saying here. First, some of the stuff they put in here, I can't even understand it. Oh, I don't see anything. Nothing. They're all talking to themselves.
Okay.
That's what they tell me. They talk to themselves.
That's fine. I have more point. So a commonly frequently asked question that I see in the Telegram chats a lot is someone will look at their principal and then they'll calculate the APY currently, and then they'll look at their 10-year stake and they'll say, put it in a calculator and say, I got 1 million hex, 38% APY, and then now I'm expected to get 100 million hex. Well, that's not how it works. It's not a compounding return in hex. It's a simple interest where you get linear amount more of shares the longer you stake. Because if it was compounding, that means your interest that you accrue every day would have to be continually buying you more shares every day, and then your principal keeps compounding. But that doesn't work. That doesn't happen in hex. It's just your shares are set in stone if you set the stake, and then you get whatever the payout per T share is per day. You don't get an additional compounded bonus. So the interest in hex is simple, but the gains can be exponential because you're getting more interest, and then the price of USD price can go up. Then that's how you get the exponential gains. Yeah. But the interest itself is simple. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So here's the question. For Bracadabra says, how does John Wick figure 20 or 30x for a 10-year stake? It would take 200% per year on an original stake, right?
No, because the way the payout per T share is going to, slowly increase over time. So you're going to get more interest in the later years than in the earlier years. So it's not going to be, your APY might be in the 30s or so, but the payout is still going to be higher because you're going to have like higher payout per T share.
Yeah, because your T share is not static. It's on a curve.
Yeah, the interest you're accruing from those T shares is like curve and up, slightly slow and up. So that's why in the early years, yeah, you see your interest is still pretty high right now, but it's going to be even higher in the future. Yes. When the system has to inflate more first to pay you more. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's because the inflation is going to the stakers.
Yeah, and the inflation is only counted off the total supply. So once all the big payday stakes come out, the market cap will go up because all these coins are going to be released, and then the inflation will be calculated off a higher number at that point. So it's explained by Kyle. It's a little bit more detailed. We don't have to go into the details of it, but Kyle explains it.
Yeah,
how the inflation works and what it's calculated off of. But that's good for everyone, right? The inflation goes to the stakers. It goes to the people that believe and they're staked. So we want the inflation to be high. We want these big payday stakes to come unlocked because it's going to increase the inflation for everyone. Increases the pie.
Yeah.
So in the next, I always look at the expiring stake chart, and there's a lot in the next few months, and then there's one big one in March, and then after that, it pretty much levels off. Yeah. So I feel like if we get past March without huge dumps, it could steadily, we have a lot of momentum and less selling pressure all the way up.
The timing on Hex has just been like phenomenal. I mean, I can't believe all the things that fell into place, and even what it's looking like in the future here. I mean, like you said, rolling into March. I mean, what is going to be happening in March? I mean, there's a lot of global change coming right now. Not saying it's for the better or for the worse, but there's a lot of change and things that are happening. People are getting ready to go back to work. There's going to be a lot of people that have been vaccinated, and this COVID thing is going to start to, I think, ramp down around March. Bitcoin might have seen some of its early days. I'm thinking my thoughts, everyone's asking, what do you think about the bull run here? I think that we're going to see more I don't know how much, because Grayscale controls so much of a percentage of the new money that's coming in. I don't know if we're going to see for those of you who weren't around in 2017, we had cycles where Bitcoin would pump, and then it would dump, and the altcoins would pump, and then they would dump, and then the Bitcoin would pump. So we were having this cycling of the value, the market cap value moving from coin to coin, from Bitcoin back into the altcoins, from Bitcoin back into the altcoins. And you could almost, you could almost trade on that algorithm. It was kind of happening so naturally. It was like, okay, time to get out of Bitcoin because here comes the boom, the altcoin pump. And then it would be an altcoin that would pump, and it was almost, you can time it. I don't know if we're going to see much of that anymore. I think that all of those funds might kind of slow that type of activity down. So that's going to be interesting to see if we have that happen again. I thought maybe we would. I was like, okay, well, now we're going to have alt season, and Hex is going to probably see more of a pump than previously, because there's a lot more financial energy coming into crypto. But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, this is fund money coming in that's controlled, that's not really moving around like it was with the FOMO days of 2017, where people had control of their crypto and they could move it around like that based on, FOMO. But now it's kind of locked into that fund, so it's not going to be able to be as fluid. I'm sure that there is some Bitcoin money in there that might move, but then again, it might not move. It might just sit there because it's freaking gun shy from 2017.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
What, the Bitcoin dominance or altcoin?
Well, yeah, there being Bitcoin altcoin seasons during this next bull run here.
That's a great question. I think that, obviously 2017 was the ICO boom, and that really pumped Ethereum, faster and harder than Bitcoin. So what's going to be the catalyst this time? DeFi. A lot of people think DeFi, which Hex is a part of that. I obviously am super bullish on DeFi. I think it's great. It has a great use case, and the trustlessness of it is amazing. Especially the fact that Hex, you can trustlessly get in and out, and then sell trustlessly on a 24/7 market on Uniswap, which is amazing. But I mean, I think that everyone is pretty much bullish Bitcoin right now. Like,
I think you're right too, because I think the mentality is a lot of people are getting in because of this fund that it's kind of given them a security blanket coming into crypto. So they're feeling comfortable. Okay, I'll get the Bitcoin and I'll get it through this fund because they're on TV. So they must be legit. So those people aren't people that are really going to come into crypto and trade or move it around, or even, maybe even not even look at DeFi or try and even figure out what DeFi is. I think that they think they are DeFi when they're in Bitcoin. If they're coming in a fund like that, I think they're very low education crypto users, and we might not see a whole lot of action from that in the altcoin world, or even Ethereum. Well, I mean, Ethereum is on the fund also, so I mean, there's that. But is there going to be movement into DeFi from that financial energy? Versus like maybe people who have gotten their gains back, so those people who bought at 15, 16, 17K, they've got some gains now, but are they going to move out of Bitcoin and into the DeFi space now that they're watching it pump so hard?
I think the greed eventually kicks in. Everyone's best plan is, buy, hold Bitcoin for the whole bull market and ride it out. But then they get greedy. They see other people making 10x's in these DeFi coins or other, food coins, and then they get excited and they want to, chase those returns, just like the ICOs. Like, people saw other people getting rich, and then they wanted some of it, and they bought ETH to get in, and then it just pumped everything. So, I mean, I don't know. Usually, history rhymes, but it's not the same. It doesn't repeat. So maybe some things are the same, but I feel like right now, everyone getting into crypto as a newbie is mostly buying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It seems like that. I'm not obviously sure. I don't have my, ears.
No, I think you're right. I mean, I can look at I mean, you just look at market cap right now, we're at 620 billion. And Bitcoin dominance is at 68%. So it's moving high, you know? So that tells me that you and I are correct, that the people that are coming in through because of Bitcoin, because it's such a high price. Now is the time to come in. And then probably a lot of grayscale Bitcoin is in there. So I think that what's coming into crypto right now, that those extra billions that we're seeing are Bitcoin FOMO, and it's uneducated Bitcoin FOMO. And we might not see any movement unless the people who have seen some gains now, who got wrecked in 17, they might, like you said, find the greed and find the DeFi and realize that, you know, Bitcoin is what it is, and want to move. That's the only thing I see right now being, you know, a scenario of some type of an altcoin season is that. I mean, there's more financial energy, and like you said, greed is the name of the game. And when people see something that's worth, you know, tenths of a penny, hundredths of a penny versus $23,000 per coin, I mean, people tend to want to, you know, capitalize on that. But it might be a little bit before this settles down a little, before people are like, okay, time to jump.
Yeah, the unit bias thing is interesting, because Richard always talks about it, and it's true. That's why a lot of companies do stock splits in the first place, is just to fix unit bias. Apple did it last year. Again, Tesla did it, because they know that they're, you know, people buying it are Robinhood investors who are like, you know, the first time buying or dabbling in stocks, and they want to buy something that's $100 a share, not 500 or 1,000, or, you know, like Berkshire had to do that whole split too. So, it's cool. There's not a lot of obviously analogies of Hex in the legacy markets. And I'm excited to see what Grayscale, you know, Hex Grayscale is going to be. That's the thing I'm probably most excited about. When I heard that, I was like, I need to, you know, I want to know what's going on exactly. And then obviously I want to be able to provide that to my clients. I mean, that would be a dream, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. But if I could offer it to my accredited investor clients in a brokerage setting, or a, you know, fiduciary accredited investor setting, private placement setting, that would be phenomenal, because you know, I could take off a slice of the portfolio and put it just like a tiny percentage into Hex, you know, with a custodian that I trust, that has insurance. You know, those are important things in the custodian and institutional money management world. Is, you know, crypto is a bearer asset. You know, you have to take control of your own assets or pay someone to do it.
So let's talk about that a little bit, on the financial side of it. So you can explain these funds. I mean, I understand at a basic level what these funds are doing. They're custodial. You're giving they're telling you it's like a Berkshire Hathaway. You know, Berkshire Hathaway has a fund of many well-placed stocks. Very expensive to own Berkshire Hathaway, but you make a certain amount of gains, and they've only gone up, and they've done well in the because of, you know, their founder. But that's different than what you're talking about, obviously. But I'm just putting it into like something that I can compare it to. But could you explain fund management, what that is? You know, what is Grayscale? What would you like to see a Hex fund look like, or what could it look like? Kind of lay that out for everybody, since you're the expert.
Okay. Yeah. So the best comparison would just be GPTC, which Grayscale offers as their single asset trust, which allows you to gain exposure to the price performance of Bitcoin on the stock market. So you'll have like retirees or just people on their Fidelity accounts or Ameritrade, E-Trade, that can buy GBTC within their brokerage account without having to create a Coinbase account, buy a Bitcoin, you know, wait 7 days, send it to your wallet, make sure you send it to the right address so you don't lose it, all that. So like institutional money managers are not going to deal with all that nuance and you know, accounting and all that stuff that they don't want to do, because their jobs are on the line. These fund managers' jobs are on the line. They're getting very, you know, huge salaries to manage these funds. They're not going to risk it in some crypto asset with no insurance and no custodian. Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? Unless you want to get fired. So they're obviously looking after, they're, you know, looking at covering their own ass. So they want to, you know, diversify, and they want to put it into someone's hands where they can say, you know, the blame, if this goes to zero, it's my fault, but if I'm not going to lose it, I'm going to pay someone to, custody it. And I'm going to pay someone to do, like with Hex, it could be like a staking, or it could just be, what I was thinking for the Hex Grayscale was there would be a liquid fund and then it would be a staking fund. So you would either choose one or the other or both. Where if you wanted just the price performance of Hex, you could buy some like ticker, let's just say Hex, ticker on Fidelity, as a price performance tracker of Hex. And then you could have a staking fund, which is more like a closed end fund where there's no necessarily price to it, but like you have to get in and like do all these more nuanced things to actually invest. So, I mean, obviously this is all speculation. I don't know what's going to happen with Hex Grayscale, but basically it opens the inroads and easier money management for people that just have a lot of assets and want to diversify, have a lot of cash, and they want to put it in crypto, but don't have a safe way to do it or secure way to do it.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, obviously people want exposure to Bitcoin price without having to, do all those things that you and I do on a daily basis that we take for granted. So is there anything else, I mean, me to specifically cover? That's just a general overview of it.
No, I wanted to get your opinions on the scale, on the grayscale thing. Now, when you say Hex Grayscale, was that what somebody coined? Did somebody coin that? Did Richard coin that when he tweeted that day?
No, I think just Richard said that he wanted to do something similar to it, and then there was obviously no name for it, so I think he just said Hex Grayscale, or maybe someone else in the community said it. I'm not sure. That's just the name of the company that Barry Silbert runs, who offers all the trust. So he has trust not only for Bitcoin, he has Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, Zencash, some other ones I'm not exactly sure on. But then he also has a market capitalization index. So are you familiar with how those work?
No, explain that to me.
So this index will take a market capitalization weighted index of crypto assets. So it will take, let's say, the top 20 market cap coins and then build a portfolio around that based on the market cap.
So an S&P style.
Yeah. So Bitcoin is going to be the majority of the portfolio, then Ethereum, then Ripple, or et cetera, et cetera. So you're going to end up owning some of the garbage coins in there. But if for someone that just wants to, again, pay someone to do it and get them exposure to crypto in a more diversified way, they can do that. And of course, there's minimums, there's high minimums, and you have to, be an institution or accredited investor of some sort. But a lot of VCs and Silicon Valley people do that because they just say, there's insurance, you guys do all the management, I don't have to do anything, I just write you a check for 100 grand, and then I'm going to look at it in 10 years or whatever. So that's the index portion. So if Hex climbs the market cap rankings, continues to, and stays in the top 10, it could be included in some of these indexes, which is very bullish for price, because these indexes have to buy regardless of price. They'll just have to buy because it's in the market capitalization investment charter.
So it's not just a fake, hey, we're going to take the indexes of all of these different funds. They're actually taking those funds and putting them into the product.
Yeah, usually, yes. Yeah, okay. I think Grayscale does that. I'm sure
Grayscale does that, but I was talking about you said a market capitalization index fund, right? They have. Is that the same thing as what Grayscale is doing, or is that something completely?
Yeah, they're doing both. They have individual trusts just for like price of Bitcoin.
Oh, gotcha. So they've got that.
Index fund is another option to their, like Coinbase is the same thing. They have both.
Is that the same thing as like a spider?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of. Okay.
The spider just basically the S&P. You're just tracking the S&P, but
you're tracking the S&P, and
basically
they just kind of mix in what they want to keep an average of the market cap, and those funds kind of equal themselves out, good and bad, right?
Yeah, it's highly diversified, but yeah. So I mean, Hex probably would have. I mean, the way Richard presented it, it seems like it would definitely be price, positive for the price if he created it. However he created it, it would definitely be positive for the price, because you would have to actually buy coins instead of derivatives. Because he always says that I don't like derivatives, because you just play off.
Yeah, derivatives are just.
Yeah. So I would hope that there would be some way to, you would have to buy the coins physically and then push the price up. And then you could either speculate again on the price, just the price of Hex itself, or you could have a staking fund too, where you stake, and there's a management fee, and they could take like a carry as well, or no carry. But Grayscale, I think, charges about 2% on their fund. And then GBTC, though, trades at a premium. So the noobs will all buy GBTC at a premium instead of buying Bitcoin itself, which is funny to me, because they'll pay 2% a year of their whole portfolio and pay a premium. So it's not a great deal. That's why I think hopefully Hex's is more fair to the investors, and I think it will be. I think it'll be more user friendly.
Yeah, it's just going to take a track record for people to trust it. Is what's going to end up happening. It's time. It's time. You know.
Yeah, you would hope. Yeah.
Let's see. What do we got? Thanks for the diamond there. Is that from Joe? No, that was from Joe Exotic. Thanks, bud. By the way, Maddie and everybody is getting ready for the big Hex conference. I think that starts on the 6th, right? Is that the date it starts on? Let me see.
I was actually going to ask you.
Let me look at the. Let me look at the. There. Let me open that. Great. That just closed.
Who are going to be the speakers? Do we know yet?
A lot of them. A lot of people are going to be the speakers.
Are you?
Yeah, I think myself and Hexo are gonna open up, and we're gonna have some times too.
Awesome.
We want the intelligent people to smile, like all the smart Hexicans talk. I'm just there for some comic relief, I guess.
You're right, man.
So let's see. Why are all the coins, not Hex, dropping now? Because of Ripple? Probably. That's a big big FUD just hit with that. What do you think about that, John? The whole Ripple XRP SEC coming down, slamming the hammer on them.
I mean, the timing is unexpected. You know, at the end of the year, like Christmas,
or is it? I mean, think about it. If they don't do anything, then XRP is going to boom, right?
I mean, I haven't looked at the like court details and everything, but I know that it was definitely an unregistered security. I think everyone in crypto even has known that.
I mean, since it first opened up, everybody, you know.
Yeah, everyone, smart crypto investors says like initially like, oh, yeah, it's not really needed, but it's kind of security. The company sells all the shares and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not. I don't think it's obviously could be bullish for Hex if these people can see the light and want to get interest on their coins. But obviously, short term, it's instilling fear because people are like, well, if Ripple can get sued, then maybe these other coins could get sued, and then like there's just, I think like fear can kind of stoke itself, and people can kind of FUD themselves out maybe of their coins because there's a lot of out there that are kind of questionable too. So what are those coin founders thinking right now? They're probably a little bit more cautious with what they say. Exactly what Richard's been doing since launch is careful what he says, no speculation on price, no, expectations and all that. Like there's obviously a reason for that. He's explained it a million times, and it's actually paid off because it's been more legitimate that way, even though it's price performative worse.
Yep. Hey, Day 43 OG said, thanks, John. You inspired me to go the self-managed route. I'm very happy I did it. Like you, I have stakes out 10 years too.
Fantastic.
So he must have done his self-directed. 67 Cloud. That's why the traders are the mad ones. The traders are going to make a boatload with Hex, but the stakers are going to get the last laugh. Yeah, I mean, stakers are always going to be the ones that are rewarded in Hex, and until people realize that, they're going to keep chasing the dragon. And I mean I think Hex has actually been a trader's dream too. So there's been some really nice movement on that chart. So Hex has got a little something for everybody. If you're a trader and you've traded at Hex, you might have done well if you've been following everything and watching everything. So you may have done well.
Yeah. So and that is a good segue. So the quote I said earlier is, now that a BPD is passed, like it's more important to have time in the market as opposed to timing the market. So again, I'll share. It's not a secret. It's most people know, but mostly finance people know, or that study the markets pretty well, is if you take out the top trading days in the year for the S&P 500, if you take out the top 30 days, your average return comes to about like 2%. So the average, let's say, lifetime is about 9% annualized. But if you take out the top 30 days, it goes to about 2% return. And if you take out if you take out 20 days, it goes to 2. Take out the top 30, you go to 0 or slightly negative. So if you miss the top 30 performing days of the S&P, you're going to get negative returns, even though the index is up 9%. That's because, those days, if you miss those days, your returns are going to be way worse than the average. That's why indexes
Trading sucks.
Exactly. Warren Buffett.
If you, like you said, if you don't like DCA trade, I mean, if you don't constantly trade and, like you said, catch those days, it's like going to the roulette table and just dropping all your coins down once or twice versus putting them down, over and over and over and over and over again over, 300 spins, to try and hit that one, that one time you get 35, gains. You got to hit those or else. And that's in the regular stock market. That isn't even in crypto.
Right. So my hypothesis is crypto, Bitcoin, Hex, Ethereum is even accelerated beyond that.
Yes.
So I feel like, and this is just intuition. I don't know for sure, but I haven't done the analysis. But I'm guessing that if you miss the top 10 days in Hex, you're going to probably be negative, not negative in Hex, but you're going to miss out on most of the gains, 80% of the gains, let's say.
Yeah.
And if you're trading, you can miss them entirely, or you could lose, right? As opposed to staking for 40% APY.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the other things that traders have going against them is there's multiple things, right? It's not just the timing of the market. It's also the slippage you pay when you trade. When you market sell on Uniswap, you're paying slippage both sides. So if you're just constantly trading back and forth all day, you're paying fees both sides on, let's say, 10, 20 grand. That does add up over time, 0.3%. And then the slippage you pay, executing the trade, it's going to move the price, and then you're going to lose a little bit of ETH. You're going to lose a little bit of Hex every trade. So there's that. There's the ETH gas fees, as we've seen, have risen significantly in the last week. So everyone's complaining now about the fees. So that's another thing you're paying as a trader.
Yep.
And then you're missing out on the APY. So all of those things you have to pace
outperform
staking. So
you can't.
I want just to realize, if you're going to trade, trade some other coins, but Hex is meant to be staked.
Yeah.
And there's going to be, you should be celebrating the low stake percentage now, because it's not going to be there forever.
Yeah.
It's highly unlikely it's going to be this high forever, I'll say.
Yeah. So in my hypothesis is that if you were to take the same bag and DCA one in and stake it out for a year and see the returns, you're going to do much better than that one bag trying to catch a high, or buy a low and sell a high for the year and try and make the same gains as that other bag. I don't think that you can catch that. I don't think there's a very slim chance of you catching that staked bag.
And then you'll sell on a pump, and then there'll be a mega pump right after it, and you're just killing, then you're just upset, and then it just becomes a spiral of just death, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, some people can do fine and they can handle their emotions, but there's very few in the Telegram chats that I see that can actually do that. So that's why we get so many wrecked plebs in the chats, or just talking about how they bought, at the top and sold, panic sold the bottom. It just happens over and over again. It happens at every market. So Hex is just on an accelerated rate than everything else. Than at least in crypto.
Now this is something that I talk about often. And because of my age, I'm just, have a little more wisdom when it comes to investing in, other things outside of crypto. I've done pretty decent in crypto, but outside world, I've invested also. Now your opinion, now you help people manage their funds and whatnot. So when you look at crypto, and I know that you're a lot more knowledgeable than most people out there in your industry, Where do you see it sitting in somebody's portfolio? I've always said, crypto should be, that 10% or something that you can lose, or that I look at a model of what I call 10, 10, 10, 30, 40, where I blow 10, I save 10, I give away 10 to a charity or something worthy. I operate a business or some type of a fund that is creating income, and then I live off of 40%. That's how I manage my whole nut, I guess you can say. So I put crypto in that 10% blow bag, of the money that I can just, get rid of or save, I can take 5%, from my savings and put it in crypto, and 5% of, my fund money and put it in crypto. But I've always kept it in that perspective. And because of Hex, it's done really well. And some other cryptos I've done okay in. And that 10% has made me humongous gains, of course, because of Hex. But I still kept it in perspective. I mean, I could have went more in. I could have got a loan on my house. I could have got a loan on my other property. I could have got, sold another car or something to jump in deeper. But I didn't. Now, as you look into it and you look at people's, bags in general, what would you say is kind of where you would put crypto as far as how you look at it for most people out there? Without giving financial advice, and I'm not asking you to give financial advice, but I'm saying, where does it fit in your idea of how people
in the portfolio? Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's a great question. I actually get it quite often too, so it's not that uncommon. I see it as a hedge. Of course, first thing is a hedge against inflation and printing money and just political mishaps, let's say, or currency mishaps potentially, or that risk, those black swan events, it's by the side. It's a great book, Black Swan, by Nassim Taleb. And if everyone's interested in numbers, statistics, and stuff like that. But I see it as a black swan event hedge. It creates currency risk, inflation risk, money printing. But then, I mean, you can view it as like a commodity. So a lot of people in the legacy world like gold as their commodity, or other commodities like corn, oil, etc. You could look at it as a commodity part of your portfolio, obviously with more volatility and more risk. But again, with the APY, it does lessen some of the risk. But it's definitely a risk on asset, as you know. It's very, very risky, volatile. And if your emotions are not checked, you can make very bad decisions and wreck yourself, even in a very highly performing asset, right? As we've seen with traders or just people emergency unstaking or making bad decisions. So I see it as just still a risk on speculative asset. So you should treat it as such. And I was actually having this conversation with someone in the DMs. Scotty does know, or Scotty does know. He was asking, me about like, well, I like crypto, but I still have a lot of Bitcoin. What are your thoughts on like putting that into Hex? Like, should I just keep some diversified into Bitcoin? Because it's, it's the blue chip, it's the, the Genesis coin, and everyone has the household name. But I told him that, not financial advice, of course, but I told him that if you're in crypto, you're already in a risk asset.
Yeah, exactly.
So why are you in a safe risk asset while in crypto? Like it's kind of a oxymoron. Like if you're either full on risk or you're not. And crypto is full on risk. So I'd rather be in something that has a more potential to 100x as opposed to something that's going to maybe 2 to 5, 10x in the next bull run, possibly.
Exactly.
And obviously, like you said, we mentioned earlier, like the popular trade is Bitcoin right now. That's a very popular trade.
Yep.
So speculators usually want to go against the herd and be non-consensus right? That you get paid for being non-consensus right or correct. So in speculation and speculative assets like crypto, you want to make those bets, those unpopular bets that have the potential, that are secure, of course. So yeah, I guess that's what I'll say on that.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that the thing that scares me about crypto is what we're seeing happening with XRP right now. I think like that black swan event thing, I don't think that Bitcoin's going to go anywhere. I think that it's going to get realized. Somebody's going to pull its punk card and they're going to realize what it really is. And it's probably going to lose value from that. Not before it sees more value. I think that Bitcoin's got a long way to go before the masses start to see. I mean, we still haven't had the masses come in. So I think it's going to take a lot longer for the masses to come in and the masses to realize what Bitcoin really is. And then, of course, Hex is going to see a lot more adoption because of that. So I think that the thing that scares me is that black swan event where crypto gets wrecked, where crypto gets, regulated out of existence, or they shut it down somehow, some way, because, sour grapes from, like you said, another financial disaster happens. And, oh, wait a minute, this Bitcoin thing is what's going to take over the world currencies now. And, this country goes down, this country goes down. And then, oh, God forbid, the dollar starts getting smacked around a little bit by it. So then I worry about regulatory bodies coming in and stifling crypto, shutting it down, or coming after people that are in it. Those types of things versus, there being some type of a, dump in Hex or dump in a crypto or whatever. I think that the biggest risk is crypto actually getting wrecked totally by regulatory bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest fear.
So your biggest threat, you think, to crypto is regulatory risk, whereas Richard thinks it's security and lack of audits, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's internal. I mean, that's internal cryptosphere where, and those coins that don't have it, I think that, they're going to get wrecked. If you're all in on one of those cryptos and it gets, jacked and hijacked by, hackers or people overprint, or, an SEC comes in and calls one a security or whatever, and it gets picked. So there's definitely that risk, but I'm talking about all of crypto, period. I mean, like we said, you can't shut down, Hex. Hex can't be turned off. It's running, it's immutable. You couldn't stop it if you tried, just like Bitcoin, but you can stop people from turning it back into fiat. You can stop people from spending it.
The banking stuff is definitely an issue.
Exactly. I mean, no matter what, in order to spend your crypto, you've got to off ramp it somewhere. Yeah. Somebody's either got to exchange it for you, go in a back alley and give you cash for your freaking, your Bitcoin, or you've got to go through your bank, and if the bank shut it off, then you're going to be in back alleys trying to get somebody to trade your crypto for you. Mm-hmm. And at what point are you're going to start seeing stings and shit like that, where people are going to start getting, jail? I mean, that's the things that I worry about, and that's those zombie apocalypse type of shit. But it's more likely than not that that's what's going to happen. I mean, to crypto. I mean, I don't see Hex getting hit by anything. Mm-hmm. Other than somebody dumping or pumping it, or and like you said, by March, a lot of the dangerous stakes are going to be gone, and then everything else is going to kind of be smooth sailing as far as stakes wise goes.
Yeah. And I've been checking the stake graph pretty much every day, and the staked amount is more than the ended pretty much every day for the last month. So that's a sign that we're getting a net positive staking ratio, which is obviously bullish for price and bullish because we're getting a lot of restaking going on right now.
Yeah. So because people are realizing that the value isn't, worth actually cashing it out, that, restaking it is more valuable to them than cashing it out.
Yeah. Or they didn't hit their price target, or they just realized that, I don't need the money. I can put it out another year. I've seen a lot of that. So that's good for price. And then of course the number one thing is adoption. But going back to the regulatory risk, Bitcoin and Ethereum are actually highly favorable in the eyes of the U.S. regulators. It's something I've been tracking for the last few years, just because I'm interested in that, and I see regulations, all the time in my job. And the new people in those positions of power are actually speaking very favorably about crypto, which is surprising. So I don't see the regulatory risk as much as you do, but the banking risk is definitely an issue. If those dry up, if those Coinbases all dry up, then that could be an issue. But I feel like there could be a route around that somehow.
Yeah. If some type of an easy onboarding process, or how would you say it? Some type of if an institutional onboarding development process can be, fast tracked or made available to people easily, then that might change things. Because I mean, right now it's kind of a big process to become, like a Coinbase where you can, exchange Bitcoin for value into someone's bank account, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the process is, but I'm sure it's pretty intense.
Yeah, I feel like you have to know people and, lobby and try to like get, favors, like the Coinbase guys definitely have did some favors for some people, or, to get those, especially in New York. It's very tough to get licenses in New York for whatever reason.
New York's like very crypto friendly.
Crypto and other, finance, like they just have so many regulations because Wall Street's there. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a risk. That's why, again, it's a speculation. It's a speculative asset. Like there are blow up risk potential.
So,
like,
so what do you think about the crossing over of so the damn thing is considered an asset by the regulatory bodies, right? I mean, it's a commodity. I'm sorry,
commodities in the eyes of the regulators.
That's a commodity. So how come so much interaction? If it is a commodity, why don't they just treat it like a true commodity, like it is a baseball card or something, versus there's a lot of regulatory getting involved. And I mean, if it is a commodity, then why so much intermingling with the SEC and all the regulatory bodies? Why do you think that they're treating it like it's more than a commodity? I feel, when I see them coming after other cryptos or the ICO things, or even like what they're doing with XRP right now, which, they totally deserve, or, whatever. But I mean, if it is a commodity, then why are they doing the things that they're doing? Why are they reacting the way they're reacting? If it shouldn't they back off a little more versus the aggressiveness that they've taken on crypto?
Well, I think XRP is a specific case where they have obviously a lot of evidence. Otherwise, they wouldn't be, litigating right now. They obviously have them dead to rights. Otherwise, they wouldn't even, announce it all. But like with Bitcoin and Ethereum, I don't think they have those issues, those same issues. Like no one's trying to get rid of Bitcoin anymore or get rid of Ethereum. People are like, oh, this is an alternative thing. Like people are talking about it now on CNBC. It's getting its own stock ticker.
I guess what my question is how can you take something that's a commodity, like for instance, if I've got a baseball card, how do I turn a baseball card into a security? Versus, I mean, so XRP, they're a commodity just like any other crypto, right? How do they turn it into? How do they actually turn it into a security? How could I turn? I mean, I understand the whole, promising, something for value or whatever, making promises. But I mean, what is it? What is the verbiage, or what happens to do that? I mean, what makes him come after it and says, okay, well, we got you because you're doing X with your commodity?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a really good question. I would only could speculate. I'm not 100% sure. I think it just has to do with money transmitter licenses, and it, I think some people still view it as money alternative, and then if it's money and fiat, then it has to go by some certain rules, and I think it's just a lot of bureaucratic stuff. I don't, that's would be my guess, but I'm not the expert on law, law and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I don't completely understand that part of it, and maybe somebody will.
Yeah,
because if it is a commodity, I mean, like for instance, in my baseball card, I can say whatever I want about my baseball card, but why is anything that I say about it going to make it less of a commodity and more of a security? I promise you my baseball card is going to go up in value. I promise you my baseball card one day is going to make you a lot happier than it does right now. I mean, all these kind of things. I mean,
Yeah.
I may be, not on the right track, but I would like to know what it is that makes it not a commodity, because I always thought that was the class that all crypto had, was it was a commodity, and they're not going to regulate it like anything else other than it's a commodity. But now we have securities. I don't know.
Yeah. I think they have a framework for if it is a commodity or not.
Oh, so it might not even fit in the realm of being a commodity. It's like, well, you know what? It's not a commodity. It's a security because of X, 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 and
Yeah.
that.
Like one of the things is sufficient decentralization. So the regulatory bodies determined that Bitcoin and Ethereum had sufficient decentralization to become a commodity, but maybe XRP was not sufficiently decentralized. So, and they had promises, and they did a bunch of wrong things, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think that's why. But again, you could email Hester Pierce or your, crypto lawyers out there, but Tone Vays' lawyers. But I don't know for sure.
Right on. All right, man. Well, I'm going to drop these guys one more. Let's see. I'll put some more lemons in here for everybody. All right, guys. I'm going to release the Kraken for you, and then we're going to let's see. Plenty. Okay, let's look at Loki. Says plenty of coins or securities. RG3. Some cryptos you have to be accredited investors to buy. Okay. So there already is a class of securities, but they've followed regulatory is what it is, I guess. So as long as you follow securities regulatory, you can be a security. And if they are acting as a security, but they haven't met regulatory or provided the means of being a security, I guess you could say. I get it now. I think I get it. So yeah. So some cryptos are a security. They're not a commodity. Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense to me. Learn something new all the time.
There you go. From chat too.
From chat. All right. Let me release the chest for everybody here, guys. Here's your treasure chest for the evening. And still, hey, everybody, send Dlive a message and say, why are we not VPs yet? I'd like to be able to grow this thing faster for you guys. And here we go. About 10 more seconds. 15 seconds. Let's see. Is there anybody out there that needs to be rated? Anybody going on stream here? Anybody going on stream? Bran, any of you guys? We got to get that TV guide out. Hey, Papa Boner hit 215 lemons. Joe Exotic with 123. Cookie Boys 89. Identity Block 71. And Children of the Grave 60. My troll. That's my troll list basically. So you guys all got your lemons. Hey, John, thanks for coming on, man, and having a real intelligent conversation. I appreciate it every once in a while. But
hopefully it was interesting for people and they learned something, or if not, they can follow up with me or you. And
it definitely brings up more questions about things, like always. And we did. I think we answered a lot of questions for folks.
Yeah, we covered most of what I do have a couple. Can I fit in 2 more points?
Yeah. Let's go ahead. Have at it.
So I think I told you about my crypto journey as far as getting in. Like I started as an ETH maximalist. I got in 2016 because I heard about Bitcoin, but I heard about Ethereum as being like Bitcoin 2.0, but with more features, and it was a smaller market cap at the time. And I was just thinking, like, it kind of came to me like kind of out of nowhere, but it was just reminding me, like, right now this opportunity investing in Hex feels like buying Ethereum back at $10 back then. Because I don't know if you're familiar with the ICO. I didn't participate in the ICO, but I bought far later.
You talking about Ethereum?
Yeah, Ethereum. So the ICO'd in like the 30-cent range or 10-30 cent range, and then pumped to like $1, and then kind of chopped for like a year or so around like $1. And no one was really talking about it. This is in like 2015. And then in 2016, it had like a pretty crazy pump. It went from like $1 to $20, and then it had a drop to $8.50, and then it stabilized around 10. And then from then on, it went to go from 10 to the end of 2017, as you know, it went up to 1400. So from that point, it did 140x in less than a year and a half. So, I mean, obviously not financial advice, make your own decisions, you're responsible for your own decisions. But right now, with all the stuff that's going on with Hex and some of the things we discussed today, it feels a lot like that ETH pump from dollar to 20, now then to 850, and then stabilize around 10 is kind of where we're at now in Hex, right? Before the floodgates have opened, before the gatekeeping has stopped and Staker app has rolled out, the grayscale, the margin trading, all these things that are momentum moving forward, and the crypto bull market. It feels a lot like that. So I'm excited for the next year and what's to come there. So
yeah, next year.
Thoughts on my bull talk?
What's that?
I said, do you have anything to add on my moon talk?
No, you know what? 2021 I'm excited about 2021 in Hex. I really, really am excited because we had a badass year in 2020, and 2020 sucked for so many things but Hex.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Hex, I would be fucking sitting in Maddie's couch right now, trying to pick what fucking psychotropic drug I was going to be on, because I'd be in such a fucking depression right now. But Hex is really this show, all of you guys getting new friends has made 2020 fucking bearable and actually exciting. And 2020, even though it was a bad year for me, losing so many family members and friends and stuff, and work and whatnot, but gaining Hex and gaining the Hexicans and doing this show and everything has been just phenomenal. And I think 2021 for us, for Hexicans, is going to be badass. I think we're going to have a big boom now. I think your timing is absolutely impeccable and perfect. I think March is our big pump. That's what I just keep sensing, is that March is when Hex is really going to see a pump, and we're going to get some of that. Some of this Bitcoin thing is going to be dying down, and the good products, the good DeFi products. And I don't think there's a better. Well, I know there's not a better DeFi product out there than Hex, and I think that we're going to see a lot of that energy that's out there, that's already in crypto, is gonna move over, because we've been making a lot of noise. I mean, the Hexicans have been making a lot of noise, and nobody can blast us anymore. They tried to at first, and when we may have been a little weaker, a little meeker, a little less educated than we are now, we might have been able to be bowled over a little bit. I mean, some of us know, but now I think that there's so much confidence in Hex and what we're doing and what we're about and how we fit in the crypto space, that we're going to become the new influencers, and we're going to make the crypto world take a good look at Hex, and we're going to see some of that energy from Bitcoin and what we've just seen in this bull run roll into Hex, and probably going to see it around March. That's just my thoughts from what I've seen and how long I've been around watching things. So, yeah.
And then just the low liquidity, low market cap of Hex, and the Uniswap function just allows it to, do the multiples that other coins cannot do. You know, the liquidity is, almost everyone complains about it all the time, but it's probably perfect considering the OA has made all of the great decisions in the past, like regarding the project. So I don't feel like people need to worry about the liquidity. That was the big FUD thing, before and after Big Payday. But it hasn't changed. It's stayed pretty much relatively around 6, 7 million, 8 million. And staking Hex to me feels like kind of like a leverage long on ETH that you can't get liquidated on, right? If you stake, because it's a smaller market cap, you're on top of the ETH ecosystem. All the benefits of ETH get thrown onto Hex if we choose to use it. There's more apps, there's more use cases that are constantly being developed by all these amazing developers and community members. And we're getting more 555 stakers, and even new people coming in are staking 555. And every time someone does that, you're creating a raving fan. You're creating someone that's going to be a proponent for Hex long term. And that kind of will just be, I feel like that's the next step, is just the word of mouth marketing, getting more people to stake long, and then they naturally will become an advocate and then you just kind of build from there. And then you get, we've seen more streamers come up. We've seen more, ZK Sync and all these things come up out of the blue. Uniswap come out of the blue. So if there are more things coming in the pipeline that I'm sure we don't even know about, so it should be a very good year. And then hopefully crypto and the stimulus and all these things going on in the entire globe will help boost crypto as well. So yeah. I'm super bullish on crypto and obviously Hex for this bull run, of course. It's still only 4 or 5 billion market cap.
Yep, we all are. We're all bullish.
So that's all I had for you. I know we had a tight schedule now.
Nope, that's it. We went 19 minutes over my 2 hours, but I was glad to. John, coming on, but I appreciate you. Appreciate you being and bringing some sanity to sometimes our insane show here. But it was good talk, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you too. Thanks so much for having me and having this platform. It's great. And shout out to all the Hexkins. Love you guys. Keep it up. I think we're doing great. So
right on. All right, guys. We will catch you all on the Friday night hangout. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it anyway. I know that is that Christmas Day. I'm the heathen pagan anyway, so we're gonna do a stream on Christmas Day. I think we got something special planned for New Year's for all of you people out there honoring the social distancing and not going out and all that stuff. We're gonna probably, myself and Hexo might be doing something on New Year's, so stay tuned for that. And we'll catch you all on Friday if you want to come hang with us and you're sick and tired of the relatives or just hanging out by yourself and Santa's gone and it's all over with. But we'll see you guys on Friday night at the FN Hangout. See you later.